Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Om Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Padyantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Asmad Gurubhyo Namaha. Shruti Smriti Puranaanamayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavad Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Guru Ratmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshina Murtaye Namaha. Om Shri Medha Dakshina Murti Swamine Namaha. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Namo Pathaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Gratitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamrita Varshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashabhyayinim Ambatva Manusandhadami Bhagavad Gite Bhavadveshinim Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutah Stunvanti Divyaistavaihi Vedhai Sankapadakramopanishadaihi Gayanti Yam Samagaha Dhyanavastitadadgatena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yoginaha Yasyantanna Vidhusura Suraganaha Devaya Tasmai Namaha. Namaste once again, everyone. Karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phala heturbhuhu ma te sangostva karmani. This is a very profound shloka which is actually explains the background of how a karma yogi should approach karma yoga. This is the first thing everybody needs to understand before you even talk of spirituality. And even though Shankaracharya takes karma mentioned in this verse as purely scripturally enjoined karma, that is the Vaidika karmas, because during his time that was what was under discussion rather. But it does not stop us from looking at this shloka from the standpoint of any karma, any Laukika karma or Vaidika karma, because karma yoga allows for that. So here Bhagavan says, Arjuna, te karmani adhikaraha asti ma phaleshu kadachana. The word adhikara here means choice or a control, something over which you have power. Now, this choice is only with reference to karma, the actions that we perform. At no time, ma kadachana, however, is there a choice or control with reference to the results of action, phaleshu. Thus, with reference to all our actions, we have a choice. But with reference to the results thereof, we have no choice whatsoever. And this is nothing as a very great philosophical statement. It is a very simple statement of fact. Because even while doing a Vaidika karma, there is a choice. You can do it, you need not do it, and you can do it differently rather. So even when, say chanting this Om Bhurbhuvasvaha, this sometimes blockades, mental blocks comes. Gayatri Mantra.
Gayatri.
Gayatri Mantra. So there is a choice to do it differently. But you can do it 108 times along with Sandhya Vandanam. Or you can do it 64 times. Or you can do it 32 times. Or even 12 times you chant the Gayatri. So the Shastra provide for all these kind of, if you can't do it 108, at least do 12. So what is behind all these things? What is your bhava? How you are going to, how you are approaching that. So this choice we have got in all our actions. The capacity to do, not to do, and do it differently makes all of us a karma adhikari. Whereas an animal, on the other hand, is not a karma adhikari because it does not have a choice in its actions, but is motivated only by its instincts rather. When the animal sees some food, it doesn't have a choice whether I want to eat this or not eat this. Because its instinct is whatever food is available, eat it. So it keeps on eating whatever comes, whether it is plastic cover or newspaper or whatever it is. Therefore, what we have to focus on is that the first thing we have to understand that as a human being, we have a free will. And in Bhagavad Gita, this is one of the important verses which establishes free will on the part of human beings. Therefore, anybody having any notion that the free will is also governed by destiny is a misconceived notion. As I said, the animals, they lead an instinctive life. They have a programmed life. They cannot have a goal and work for that. Human being alone has that power to learn from experience and also accordingly project one's goals and have appropriate goals and work for it. All these are possible only because human being has got free will. And free will means what? Free will means choice. So any action that we do, we have a choice. And therefore, Krishna says, Karmani eva te adhikaraha asti. He is using evakara here. Eva means only. To say that on nothing else you have got the choice. So certainly you have a choice only with regard to the action that you want to do, whether it is a secular action or a sacred action. Laukike va vaidike va karmani tava adhikara asti. So we have a choice. And that means what? We should be a responsible person to use the choice judiciously and intelligently. Just as the politician says, you have got power to vote. You have the power and therefore use it properly. First use it and then use it properly. Therefore, te karmani adhikara asti. But phaleshu kadachana ma adhikara asti. With regard to the karma phalam, the results of whatever you have done, you have no choice. Therefore, you should know in what you have a choice, and you should also know what is choiceless. So that when there is a choice situation, you will intelligently operate that, and with regard to a choiceless situation, you will intelligently accept that. And of course, for acceptance, whatever preparation is required, that also you will do. Therefore, before you exercise your fullest choice, Before you take any course of action, Krishna is indicating do not blindly jump into any action, but at the same time, be intelligent enough and strong enough to accept the result. Now, this line, karma phala vishaye adhikaraha nasti. This has created a lot of confusion in the minds of people. Because this line can easily be misinterpreted, which has happened also. If you don't understand the appropriate contextual meaning of the word adhikaraha, then this whole thing can be misinterpreted. Because the word adhikaraha, as many other words in Sanskrit, has got a number of meanings. Adhikara, one meaning is control, another meaning is right, another meaning is choice. Like that, there are several meanings. Now, if you interpret the word adhikaraha as control or choice, then there is no problem. But if you interpret the word adhikaraha as a right, then what does this words translate to? It will translate to Krishna telling Arjuna, you have got a right to do your karmas, but you have got no right to expect the results of that karma. This is how the whole thing is misinterpreted. And then many people criticize Bhagavad Gita. How can Krishna give such an advice? Whenever I do karma, obviously I am expecting some results. And he says you have no right to expect the results. They think that they are intelligent or more wise than Krishna himself is. And that's why they come up with such, distorted translations. But if you actually translate the word adhikara as a choice or control, then the whole thing falls in place. The whole sloka becomes meaningful. So when Krishna says, I do not have a choice over the results, it does not mean that the result is already predestined by God. And in fact, there are people who say that when Krishna himself is saying that you have no choice over the result, it is already predestined as per your karma law and all that, then why should I do any effort at all? My result has got no benefit or no result. So all these actions we are doing are only dummy actions. Everything God has already determined before. And this kind of a thinking is called determinism or fatalistic approach. And the root for the fatalism is the misinterpretation of this line. Because Bhagavan says, you have no choice over results. So many people think that we are helpless. The results are already determined. So what I am doing, it's like many companies have got these vacancies, They will advertise. But they would have already chosen somebody. Just for the sake of record, they will give advertisement, do some interviews, all are eyewash. Only just the act. The person is already chosen. Similarly, these fatalistic people think that even before we do any action, or in spite of our action, the result is already determined by the Lord or destiny, and therefore we are totally helpless individuals. And in support of this determinism or fatalism, they quote this line. Krishna says, Ma phalesu kadachana. You do not have a right over your result. As I said, this interpretation is I would call it a very misconceived interpretation. what Krishna wants to say is, when you do not have, when he says that when you do not have a choice over the result, Krishna does not mean that your efforts are a waste. Because no effort of anyone can be a waste. Because every karma is a bijam, it is a seed. It should necessarily produce a result according to the quality and quantity of karma. Therefore, whenever I do any action, from the minutest to the biggest, an appropriate result according to the law of karma is definitely produced. But what Krishna wants to say is, the result produced is not determined by your effort alone. Your effort does contribute to the result, but the result is not wholly determined by your effort alone. There are so many other factors which contribute to the results of action. Therefore, understand that your effort is one of the contributory factors. Your effort is neither totally useless, nor does your effort totally decide the action. And we can quote n number of examples. I mean, let us take the example of this class itself, which we are now attending. First of all, if our class is to go on, my coming to the class is important, isn't it? Well, without a teacher, how can the class go on? That is important. So that is an action on my part, coming to the class. But is that alone sufficient for the class to be conducted? Equally important is the presence of all of you students in this class. That is action on your part to attend the class. On that, I have no choice. Only you have a choice, because it is an action on your part. Okay, let us assume that I am present and you are all also present. We have exercised our choice over our respective actions. But will that alone determine if the class will be conducted successfully or not? No. There are so many other contributory factors which will determine the result of some successful conduct of the class. For example, my laptop with which I am conducting this class can conk off suddenly, or the electricity in my place on which the internet is dependent may drop off, there can be a blackout. Modem will not work. And even if power is available, internet connection should be available. That may not be available. If all these things are there, then the Zoom link should work, because we are conducting classes on the Zoom. Thus, if we start enumerating, we will come up with a very big list of contributory factors to make just this one class successful. And this is true of every karma we do. Therefore, from my point of view, my contribution is called free will, and the contribution of all other factors, including the presence of all of you, electricity, availability of electricity, internet, and whatever other factors are required, all other countless factors other than me, we call it as God's will. We call it as Daivam. Therefore, from my standpoint, your arrival is fate. Electricity is fate. All other external factors are also called fate, and my contribution is called free will. Therefore, the class is a result of both the free will, that is my contribution, as well as fate, which is the contribution of all other factors in this creation. Therefore, I do not say that you do not determine the result of your action. At the same time, I do not say that you alone determine. I only say you partially determine the result. Therefore, the ultimate is not totally in your hand. Therefore, what? Neither total optimism, I am alone the doer, I am the karta, or total pessimism, everything is predetermined. Neither of these extreme position is required. One needs to be rational and objective. This is what is the conflict between fate and free will. Because the human being wants to know whether I decide my future, and he wants a black and white answer. One person says, I do not decide my future at all. It's all love, karma, my past karma, that determine my future. I have no role to play. That fellow is a fatalistic person. He says, there is nothing in my hand. There is another person who says, very arrogantly, I alone determine everything. Therefore, if we ask which is stronger, fate or free will, the answer is we play a role, but we do not play the total role. Similarly, here also Krishna says, just because I say your karma phalam is not under your control, it does not mean that your efforts are useless. Do not think your actions are waste. Even though a single vote may not determine the result, a single vote is not a waste. So, any single contribution may not determine the totality, the total result, but every single contribution is not a waste. That is why when we are doing dhanam, even if you are able to donate even a small amount of money, it is not a waste. It will add to the total. If you take the alphabet, a single alphabet in a word does not determine the word. But that single alphabet is not a waste. Without that alphabet, the word cannot be formed. Therefore, we must understand that our efforts do contribute to determine the result. And just as every contribution is important, just as every vote is important, just as every alphabet in the word is important, every individual's action is equally important. But at the same time, when you cast your vote, the party that comes to power may not be the party that you voted for. And for that reason, you cannot say, oh, I voted for this party, it has not come to power, next time onwards, I will not vote. All you can do is do your duty, do your action, vote, and pray that the party you want comes to power. And that is why Krishna says, just because the results of your actions are not under your control or you have no choice over that, do not stop actions. And at the same time, do not expect that whatever result you want will alone come. Do your actions. It is very, very important. But be prepared for any type of result which is not determined by you alone, but determined by so many other factors also. Therefore, as even you do your action, mentally pray, oh Lord, Give me the strength to accept the consequence of my action gracefully. Action itself is not the problem. It is your response to the result of action that becomes a problem. And therefore, ma bhuhu karma phale hetuhu. May your motive in doing any action not be heavily dependent upon external accomplishment. When you are working in the world, let not your focus be on money gained, name gained, status gained, etc., which is going to be unpredictable. So, ma bhuhu karma phala hetuhu. Hetuhu here means motive. Karma phalam means material gain. So, may your motive not be material gain whenever you are doing any action. Because if your motive is material gain, then the result of that action may not be commensurate or may not be as expected by you because of all other contributory factors. Because if the material gain is the motive, what will happen? If material gain is there, you will be on top of the world. And when it goes down, you will also go down with it. We have seen so many cases. Today a prince, tomorrow a pauper. If you look at the history of the companies which flourished 100 years ago, they are nowhere to be seen today. They have become dust. Therefore, if you depend upon external unpredictable factors, your life will be full of ups and downs. And therefore, do not make your fulfillment depend on that. Ma karma phala hetuhu bhu. Then what should be the focus? The focus should be on the very action, the very experience that you are going to get. Later on, when we see the next two slokas, Krishna says, he defines karma yoga. Karmasu kaushalam. Intelligent choice of every action that we do. We'll talk about it in detail when we come to that. So the focus should be on the very action and the experience that we get when we are doing that action. And it is commonly seen that when I face few failures in my life, nothing works for me. I've tried so many things. My tendency will be to become fatalistic, to become frustrated and say, now I'm not going to do anything. Let whatever happen. This is the attitude. In fact, it very easily comes, this attitude. Because then we try to connect that just the failure is coming because I am doing an action. If I don't do anything, I won't face failure at all. Such a perverted logic, Therefore, I have decided to avoid failures in life. Do not attempt anything. Be lazy. Lie around. And after 10 years, tell everyone that I never failed in my life. Because what did you do? I did nothing. So if you don't do nothing, you can never fail in a race which you have not run. In fact, I saw a joke. I'm reminded of that. There is this lady in the house. The man is retired, sitting at home, doesn't know what to do. He does nothing. So the wife comes and says, what are you doing? He says, nothing. But she said, that's what you did yesterday also. He said, yes, yesterday I didn't finish it, so I'm continuing to do nothing today. So that's why Krishna says, Sangaha akarmani mate astu, let there be no attachment to inaction. Akarmani. So here inaction means what? Fear of action. Not of action as such, but the fear that the results you want will not come. So even before you begin doing an action, you expect to fail. Many students are there, they won't go to the examination. Even before that, they'll say, I know if I go, I will fail, so I won't go for the exam. And as I said, the advantage in inaction is that you can never fail, but there is a very big disadvantage in inaction. And that is you lose an opportunity for inner growth. Because action alone, the sadhanas alone can give initial spiritual growth. As Krishna will tell later in the 6th chapter. Arurukshor munir yogam karma karana mujyate yoga rudhasya tasyaiva shamakarana mujyate. 6th chapter, he says that. He says an active life also contributes to growth. A withdrawn life also contributes to growth. Therefore, activity is important. Withdrawal is also important. What activity can contribute, withdrawal can never contribute. And what withdrawal can contribute, activity can never contribute. That is why in our Shastra, they say pravritti is important, nivritti is also important. And here in this sloka, Krishna is highlighting that in the initial stage of spiritual growth, it is only action and interaction which are important. And that's why, they have kept this Grihastha ashrama as a compulsory ashrama for everyone. Because in the Grihastha ashrama alone, there is scope for action and also interaction. So, Brahmacharya ashrama being preparatory for Grihastha ashrama, these two, Brahmacharya and Grihastha ashrama, comes under Pravritti Dharma, the Dharma of growth. It is compulsory for everybody to go through these phases. And they also kept Vanaprastha ashrama and Sannyasa ashrama representing Nivritti Dharma. What Nivritti can give, Pravritti cannot give. In fact, in Pravritti also, we can actually understand Nivritti. Because if you want to attend the class, what you have to do? You have to do Nivritti of you have to drop all other actions, family, whatever duties, whatever actions are involved, whether it is in your work, in your family, all that you will have to drop and come to this class and spend 1 hour. So this 1 hour, practically you are all sannyasis. You have dropped everything else and come here and focusing on learning Vedanta. That is what a sannyasi is supposed to do. His only task in life is Vedanta, Vedanta and Vedanta alone. He is not supposed to focus on any other type of pravritti dharma. The only pravritti dharma a sannyasi is allowed to do is that which is for logakshemam, for lokasangraham, for the benefit of people. Because from a sannyasi's point of view, if he is conducting a class, it is not nivritti dharma, it is pravritti dharma. But that he does for loka sangraha. So the Nivritti Dharma is important because learning takes place in a quiet, non-extrovert mind. And therefore, Krishna says, Arjuna, action is also important, withdrawal is also important. So in the first stage of life, action, second stage of life, withdrawal. And Arjuna, you are in the first stage. You have not reached the Vanaprastha ashrama, Sannyasa ashrama. You are still in the Grihastha ashrama. You are a Kshatriya. You have got Vishesha dharmas and special duties and also general duties. Therefore, you have no option not to do any action. Akarmani sangaha ma astu. May you never get out of the society. Even the question may be there, what about somebody from Brahmacharya ashrama directly going to Sannyasa ashrama without getting to going through Grihastha ashrama? There also, even if you do not get married, you have to be a brahmachari and do some service. A brahmachari's prime duty is to do service to his guru and also to the ashram or gurukulam where he is studying. Brahmachari can also do service to the public rather. So service is still involved there. Action is involved. Therefore, Krishna tells Arjuna, karma itself is not binding, nor does the karma phala bind you. It is your response to the karma phala that makes karma seem like a bondage. Thus, let there be love for action. Strengthen your mind to accept whatever results those actions produce with the full understanding of their unpredictable nature. And this mental preparedness to receive any result is an intelligent attitude. As it is often said, hope for the best, but be prepared for the worst. And therefore, Krishna says, Phaleshu kadachana adhikaraha ma astu. You alone cannot determine the result. So, in simple words, also, what is the simple lesson Krishna is teaching all of us? Do not make your happiness dependent on unpredictable things in life. Because if your happiness is dependent on unpredictable factors, the happiness itself will become unpredictable. And if happiness is unpredictable, your very life becomes unpredictable. Therefore, do your action and let the result be a byproduct for you. Focus on growth, the experience, the enjoyment that you will get as a reward for the very action, the very performance. Learn to enjoy the very action itself and be ready to learn from the experience that if you focus on these particular factors, the results, positive or negative, will not have a very big role in determining your happiness in life. Swami Paramathanandaji gives a very, very beautiful example. It's like a person who wants to exercise for his body rather. And for that purpose, he plays a game of tennis. Now, when he does that, what is his focus? His focus is to grow a very healthy, muscular body. For him, the reward is the very play. He enjoys the very playing of the game. At the same time, he is definitely improving his physical health. But what is going to be the result of the game, whether he is going to win or he is going to lose, is insignificant for him. One day he wins, another day another person wins. But he is not playing for the victory in the game, but the very enjoyment in the playing and the very exercise he gets. Similarly, if I convert every action into the very reward, I enjoy doing what I am doing. And I enjoy learning, just as the tennis gives physical health, my action gives me mental health and growth, then the result will become an incidental byproduct. Therefore, in every action, enjoy the experience, enjoy the growth that you will have. That inner growth will become success. External material accomplishment or failure will become insignificant. So when you say, in my action, what is the success? The very action that you are doing is success for you. The inner growth, the learning, the maturity that you achieve by doing the action is the success for you, not any material external accomplishment. The world may judge from the standpoint of external accomplishment. You should learn to ignore it, and I should learn to judge my life from the standpoint of my internal accomplishment. And therefore Krishna says, Ma phaleshu kadachana. External accomplishment is not in your hand, whereas the inner growth is in your hands alone. Therefore, Arjuna, do not run away from your responsibility, but at the same time focus on inner growth, not external. And then Krishna expounds this further in the next sloka and gives the first definition of karma yoga. That's why, this sloka which we have seen is a very important sloka to understand the foundation of entire karma yoga. If you do not understand this sloka, if you do not understand the message that Krishna is giving, you will never understand what is karma yoga is, and you will be starting on a wrong path so far as spiritual journey is concerned. And that's why I took a little long time for this one sloka. It requires a very clear understanding, and you have to assimilate this. And it's a very simple, pragmatic, objective approach to life and actions that we do in life. As I said, there is nothing philosophical about it. But we have to, whenever we are doing any action, we have to understand. Later on, we will talk. What should be the attitude with which you should do the action? Here we focused on the action itself, how you should treat the action and how you should treat the results of action. But there is one more aspect to it, which I'll come to it later. With what attitude you should approach this action. We will see that later. Okay. Now, the first definition of karma yoga which Bhagavan Krishna gives, we will go to that. Yogastha kuru karmani sangam tyaktva dhananjaya siddhya siddhyo samo bhutva samatvam yoga uchyate. So Anvaya is, He Dhananjaya, Sangam Tyaktva, Samaf Bhutva, Siddha Asiddhayoho, Yogastaha, Karmani Kuru, Samatvam Uchyate Yoga, or Samatvam Yoga Uchyate. He Dhananjaya, Ho Arjuna, Yogastaha, abiding steadfast in yoga, Sangam Tyaktva, abandoning attachment, Siddha Asiddhayoho, with reference to success and failure, Samaha Bhutva, remaining the same, Karmani Kuru, perform actions, Samatvam, This sameness, this equanimity, uchyate, is called yoga, yoga or karma yoga. So, O Arjuna, abiding steadfast in yoga, performing actions, abandoning attachment, being or remaining the same with reference to success and failure alike. Do your actions, and this evenness of mind is called yoga. So now, after understanding the fact that we have a choice over our actions and do not have a choice or control over the results of our action, do not have complete choice, I should say, a complete control over the results of our action. Here Bhagavan is giving the first definition of what is a karma yoga, how one should have the attitude towards karma yoga. And the defining lines are samatvam yoga uchyate. Equanimity is called karma yoga. Therefore, Arjuna, act in the world by having a proper attitude towards material gain. Excuse me. If we actually introspect, think about it, whatever be the nature of karma we do, they are all meant for what? Fulfilling our likes and dislikes, our raga dveshas, which are called desires. Raga is with reference to what we want to have, what we want to retain, and dvesha is with reference to what we want to avoid or what we want to get rid of. That whether it is gaining or giving up, there is always a want involved. I want to gain and I want to give up. So this want is kama, which is called desire. Both are desires. But what we want is defined in terms of either what we want to have is raga and what we don't want is dvesha. So what we want in general is defined in terms of either raga or dvesha. And we know everyone has got likes and dislikes. And they form the very nature of an individual. And these likes and dislikes are common to all, in the sense that everybody has likes and dislikes. There is no exception. And because of the presence of these raga dveshas alone, there are various activities and all karmas are undertaken to produce the desired result, because both raga and dvesha, the desires are result oriented. Every action is meant to accomplish a result, and that too a desired result. And now, whenever we engage in action, since we perform a particular karma to accomplish a specific end, it seems as though we have figured out which karma will produce which result. But then we discover that what we had figured out is not that predictable. In fact, you can get exactly opposite of what you thought you would get. Because if you think about it, if you had a choice over the result, you need not have done the karma at all, isn't it? If you had any power over the result, you would always be successful. And sometimes we find ourselves in the right place at the right time. And other times we are in the right place, but not at the right time. So if I have to get the desired result, I have to be at the right place at the right time. But the problem is I do not know which is the right time and right place. I can only keep on trying. And being at the right place at the right time is what we call luck. So there is an element of luck involved. But in Vedanta, we don't call it luck. We call it instead as previous karma. It is the previous karma which enables you to be at the right place at the right time. We must not forget that right action is also required. But here we are focusing only on one aspect of that. So if this cause-effect relationship is understood, that is, my past karmas are responsible for my being at the right place at the right time, or being at the wrong place at the right time, or being at the right place at the wrong time. If this cause-effect relationship is understood, then there's no question of luck. It is simply replaced. Luck is replaced by past karma. Therefore, in choosing the place and time, which we do not know, we can only go by our choice, our free will. But there is a limitation in knowledge and power. I cannot figure out exactly what any given action will produce. And when I understand this limitation, I can respond to the results of action in terms of samatva, evenness of mind. Where any action or any result can be responded in two ways. Dispassionately with samatva, or like what Puja Swamiji says, yo-yo response. Yo-yo response is elated because what I got, what I wanted, or dejected because I did not get what I want. This yo-yo response is because I think I am the author of every result of action, when in fact, I am only the author of the action and not the author of the results. So Puja Swamiji says, this dejection or depression is created by some onerous responsibility we assume, one that is absolutely illegitimate. You take what does not belong to you and then you smart under it because you cannot always produce what you want, and this is a fact. Then why don't you just accept the fact? All that is required is to accept it objectively and to accept that this is how the whole creation is. This is what you are made up of, and no one else, even Swamiji, is made any differently. All human beings have got the same types of limitations. What you can do, of course, is if you feel you are limited in power, you can improve your power. But that too, you can do it only to a limited degree. Similarly, knowledge is maybe limited, and that can also be improved upon in a limited way. Anything else, such as your skills, health, longevity, your environment, all which are limited can be improved upon. To some extent, we can do that. But we have to understand that improvement is also limited. Therefore, there can only be an improved limitation. Limitation will still be there. In fact, if this is understood clearly, then you do not take up the responsibility of authoring the results of your action as you like. If you think you are the author of the results of action, you cannot but have a sense of failure. Is that not true? Therefore, it's simply an empirical, pragmatic attitude. It is simply looking at yourself as you are in this world, seeing how the world is, and your own position in the scheme of things. And it is to convey this attitude, Bhagavan said, Ma karma phala hetu bhuhu, do not be the cause of the result of action, because you are not. Then what are you? You are karma hetu, the cause of action, not the cause of result of action, karma phala hetu. You are author of your karma, but not the result thereof. So given this fact, what is the most appropriate thing to do? It is to take whatever results come with an even attitude, samatva. Whether you gain or you do not gain, there is always wisdom to gain. There is always inner growth to gain. There is always definitely something to learn. Therefore, to know that you are the author of the action, but not the result thereof, produces samatva bhava. So in this context, samatva is nothing more than a pragmatic attitude. But in order to make it karma yoga, you have to go one step further, because karma yoga implies the acceptance of Ishvara. Karma yoga requires a reverential attitude. Karma yoga requires a respect towards the entire cosmos and the cosmic power and the law and order of the cosmos, which is what we say is Ishvara. So unless you accept Ishvara, there is no karma yoga. Because we find that there are a lot of people who are pragmatic. They have this objective attitude, and whatever happens, they take it in their own stride. And they proceed because they know that it is all in the game of living and doing. We can say that they are more or less pragmatic, more or less objective, because they also have got bad days. But this is still samatva, but it is simple samatva, which does not make it karma yoga. Samatva as yoga, on the other hand, requires one more aspect, which is recognition of Ishvara. Once we say the results of one's action is not within our control, but the results are taken care of, the next question will be, logical question, what is it or who does take care of the results? With the knowledge that we have got, we can say very easily, all results are taken care of by certain laws, the body of which we call either law of dharma or the law of karma. In fact, we are more used to law of karma, but there is no difference. The word dharma has got a meaning of karma. That's why in the last chapter, Sarva Dharman Parityajya, when he says, he does not say give up all your religion. Bhagavan says give up all your actions. Mamekam Sharanam Raja, abide in me. So the word dharma has got a meaning of karma. So law of dharma is nothing but law of karma. So other than the physical laws that we know and we do not know, there seems to be another order of law. Because when you start analyzing the law and order of the cosmos, the universe, we find that there are orders within orders. For example, when you lift your hand, the physical laws are naturally at work, but there are so many other laws involved. Because first of all, lifting the hand involves a will. A thought has to come, and then your hand goes up. There is nothing physical about this aspect of the thought, which is an important aspect in lifting your hand. There is no need to push any button to lift your hand. Thus, although we find that this physical body, this anatomical structure is standing on this earth according to the physical law of gravitation, it is born into this world by certain biological as well as physical laws. We find that there are physiological laws, psychological laws, there are laws within laws. And when I perform a simple karma, even my past karmas may infringe upon the result that I want from this particular action. So it's time now. We will continue in the next class. Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you very much, all of you.
Thank you so much, Guruji.
Thank you.
Namaskaram. Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes.
It's commonly said that when a person is born on this earth.
Can you speak a little louder, because I'm not having my earphones today.
I said it's commonly said that whenever a person is born on this earth, his destiny is predetermined. So, aren't the actions also predetermined to take you to that final destiny?
If that is the understanding, because what he has said is half truth. But if that is the understanding, then do we accept that we don't have a free will? We don't need to just be born and then everything is taken care of with the destiny, whether we grow up, whether we eat, whether we put on a dresses, we don't, everything is taken care of by the destiny.
No.
Is that a fact?
No, the free will is also directed. The free will also originates or gets a direction from the ultimate destiny that I am destined for.
Okay. So
it's just a thought.
So
it's a thought.
What you say is free will is not an action on your part. You don't need to do anything. You have a free will, but that free will also is determined by the destiny, right?
Yeah, I'm just asking you a question.
No, I want to understand your question fully.
See, I have a goal. Whether right now I don't have a goal. For me to determine that goal also, something prods me. You call it the Ishvara, you call it the whatever you call it. So that very thought that comes into my mind that Sitaram, you have to work for this goal.
Correct.
While I am exercising my free will, that thought has been planted in me by some force, right, which I am calling the destiny.
Okay.
Or the fate, as you said today.
Right. What we have to understand is there are many people have the same goal. Right? But do they all, if it is all destined, the thought which is put, this is your goal in life, the thought is put in everybody's mind. And many of those goals will be the same. Let's take the example. Everybody who is who wants to compete in the Olympics, right? That thought that I want to compete in the Olympics and I want to get a gold medal is a thought which many people commonly will share, right?
Yes.
Now, all those people, in order to achieve that, will they say, okay, now I have got this thought. Now, let me sit back and let us see if the fate, determines that I have to get the gold medal, I will get the gold medal. If the fate decides otherwise, I am okay with that also. But let me not do anything about it. Let the fate destiny take care of itself. I won't do anything about it. Will that be a right way approach, a right approach? Does anybody does that? When a
No.
person, a goal has come in the mind that I want to win an Olympic gold medal, is it natural for us to expect anybody to just sit quiet?
No, action will of course follow.
Action will follow.
My point is the thought comes and the action follows.
What is that basis of that action? What
It's
is
the same
the
thing.
basis of that action?
Yeah, it's the same thought, thought that prods you, that thing.
Thought is not an action. Thought is
No,
just
thought,
prompting to you to do an action. A thought will come that you have to do an action, correct? So that thought which comes that you have to do action may be a thought coming out of, let us say, destiny. But does the thought also make you do the action?
no, then that I have to choose. That's where the free will comes in.
Whether I do what I require to do,
Yeah.
or I do it differently, because some people may choose, if I do it this way, I'm sure to get a gold medal. Somebody else will say, I do it this way, I'm sure to get gold medal. So each one of those competitors will have their own choices as how they want to approach getting this gold medal, which is predetermined, which is, let us say, they have to get a gold medal. That is from samskara, it is coming. Correct. But the action which they have to take individually is their choice. They have to do that action. So there is no predetermined predetermination. Because if we say everything is going to be determined by our destiny, the law of karma, there is no difference between us and animals. Animals are also the same. They are all determined. They don't have a free will. What differentiates between us and animals? Can a tiger or a lion or a cow have this prarabdha that they have to win a Olympic gold medal and do anything about it?
Obviously not.
They can't, because they don't have free will. Only a human being has got the free will, so he can do something about it. And what we have to do here is not get too complicated with this thing. See, our life is a constant struggle between free will and destiny. Both are equally valid. Every day, day in and day out, there is this conflict. Sometimes destiny wins, sometimes free will wins, depending upon which is stronger at that given point in time. This is what we have to understand, the entire order of the cosmos. Because law of karma is also within the order of the cosmic order only, rather. Our free will is also within the cosmic order. And these two are conflicting. If we totally take destiny, it will be driving. There are many people born in very rich families and they become pauper, not because their destiny wanted that to do. They could have retained that richness if they had worked for it. So we have to make this, because it's very easy to say, to avoid any action or avoid any responsibility, everything is predetermined. It's very easy to say that, very attractive also. But that's not the case. Our learning here is that we have a free will. We have to exercise the free will, do the actions at this point in time. I mean, at this stage of spiritual growth, that's what Krishna is addressing Arjuna. Do your actions at this stage. There will come a stage later on when you will get rid of all your actions. There will be no karma for you. But at this stage, you have to do it. And for that, you have to exercise your free will. But then, when you do that, you need to understand that what results you get, they are not a matter of your choice or they are not under your control. There are so many other factors involved. Like I used to give the example of a farmer sowing the seed. He sows the seed using his free will. Okay, I want to grow this crop this time. He sows the seed. But then, can he expect to harvest that same seed that the plant or whatever is the produce of that seed. Farmer very well knows that what I am now doing is only an action on my part. The final result depends on so many other factors. Pests attacking, not attacking my field. Animals not attacking and eating away all the grown plants. Rains coming at the right time. So many, factors are involved. And so what he does praise to the God. He prays to the cosmic powers. I, using my free will, I have done something with a certain expectation. Nothing wrong in that. But please, oh Ishvara, be on my side and let my expectation come true. This is his prayer. That's the maximum that he can do. That's a maximum we all can do whenever we are doing any karma. So this question will always be there, whether free will is there or, but free will is there. We have to recognize it. If free will is not there, there is no karma at all. Why do you get punya and papa? Tell me. Now today you are doing some action, right action, you get punya, wrong action, you get papa. Correct? That you accept? What prompts you to earn that punya and papa? The action. If the action itself is predetermined by fate, that means fate is determining your current punya papa also. Now, how that can happen? That means fate is acting against you or for you. And when we call fate, when we say law of karma, that means law of karma is being favorable to a person when he is doing dharmic karma, and it is biased against a person who is doing adharmic karma, because the law of karma says that you do a dharmic karma, you get punya, and you do adharmic karma, you get papa. So that also the fate is going to decide whether you get punya or papa. Now, what is the relevance of the law of karma itself, that when I do good karma, I get punya? There is no relevance. I don't need to do anything. Just sit quiet. Let the fate prompt me to do some action which is good. Let the fate prompt me to do something which is bad. But then, having said that, this is a very deep topic. This fate versus free will is a very, very involved topic rather. Because in Mahabharata itself, at one stage, Duryodhana tells, I know what is the right thing to do, but there is something inside me impelling me not to do that. I know what is wrong, but there is something in me which compels me to do that. Now, what is he referring to? That is a separate subject matter of a big discussion. So these are there, these issues are there, but from the point of view of Bhagavad Gita, what are we focusing here? We are focusing happiness. Our only goal in our life is to be happy, and happy always. Right? As much as possible, we want to be happy. We don't want any unhappiness. That is our goal. Now, if we start analyzing from that standpoint, what is it that makes me unhappy? What is it that makes me unhappy or happy? If we analyze, we find that the starting point is these desires. I get certain desires. And those desires, if I fulfill, I become happy. Those desires, if I can't fulfill, I become unhappy. So whenever I am doing an action, my idea is whatever is my desire, even if I want to get rid of somebody, I should be successful in that, in getting rid of that person or that thing or whatever it is, then I'll be happy. So this happiness or unhappiness depends upon what result my action is going to produce. Bhagavan Krishna says, understand one thing, that if you are going to correlate the result of your action with your action, you will always be unhappy. The chances of your being unhappy are more than being happy, because it is not necessary that whatever you do will necessarily end up in your expected results. As I know earlier also, I said that Pujya Swamiji gives a very nice story rather. Pujya Swamiji is famous for a lot of wonderful stories. He said there was a man who wanted to cross a road, go the opposite side, the bus stop was on the opposite side. He want to take a bus to go to some place. So what is his free will? With his free will, he crosses the road or starts crossing the road. First scenario, he crosses the road, goes to the bus stand, immediately the bus comes, he boards the bus and go to the place where he wanted to go. So he did one action of crossing the road, reaching the bus stop, and then it was fulfilled as expected. He has reached his destination in quick time. Second scenario, a person crosses the road, stands in the bus stop, immediately his very close friend is driving down in an air-conditioned car and asks him, hey, where do you want to go? He says, I want to go to so-and-so place. Oh, I am also going that way. Come, hop in. I will drop you there. So this result is more than expected. It's a hot, sweltering sun is there. So he is totally saved from standing under the sun for the bus to come. He is now enjoying a ride in an air-conditioned car. This is a result more than he expected. The third position, he crosses the road. No friend comes. He is standing in the bus stand expecting the bus to come. But for a long time, maybe 2 hours or something, the bus did not come. He is sweating and feeling thirsty. There is no water to drink. He is feeling miserable. Eventually, at last, a bus comes. He boards the bus and goes to his destination. So this is the result less than what he expected. He expected to reach the bus stop. Bus will come. I will go. That doesn't happen. And the fourth situation is, as even he is crossing the road, without seeing a vehicle speeds past very fast, hits him and goes away. Now, instead of crossing the road and reaching the bus stop, he finds himself in a hospital with some injuries. This is a result totally opposite to what he expected. Therefore, in what Krishna is saying, that in every action that you do, you may either get expected results, more than expected results, less than expected results, or even an opposite result. Be mentally prepared, be mentally mature to accept all those results which come to you. And because of that, don't get frustrated, don't lose your happiness. If you understand this, and if you assimilate this, any action that you get, any result of any action that you get, you will always take it positively. And about this attitude, proper attitude and proper action, I will talk about it in the next class. That is what is called Ishwararpana Bhava and Ishwara Prasada Buddhi. Right? Whatever action you do, you actually submit it, offer it to the cosmic powers. I have done this action using my free will, O Ishwara. Now you determine whatever result you want to give. Whatever you give, I will accept it with folded hands as your prasada. If you have that attitude, that is karma yoga attitude. So this is how we have to understand this whole teaching. And not get bogged down by fate and free will and all. Fate is there, nobody denies it. But it plays a certain role.
It's a thought that came.
No, fair enough. I mean, this is exactly, the debate which goes on and on and on, because a lot of people misinterpret the word adhikara and then they get into this argument. Both sides. I mean, one they say that how can Krishna say that you have no right to expect any results, which is very fair. I mean, nobody will do. It is said, there's a Subhashitam, prayojanam anuddishya mandopina pravartate. Even a fool, an idiot will not do anything without expecting some result out of it, right? So it is very unnatural to expect a human being to do action, use his free will without expecting any result. That is absolutely not the message of this Bhagavad Gita, not the message of this sloka. So we have to understand all these things. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other question? Premaji.
Yes, Guruji. I'd like some clarification.
Yeah.
We come with an assortment of karmas which give me this body, it gives me this mind, it gives me the environment in which I live. It gives me choices only limited by that. The desire for Shreyas or prayers is also an inspiration from inside. So we tend to choose things that we like. Sometimes we don't have the wisdom. That is that it is also predetermined, yet you have the free will to say, no, I would like what is best to be done in a neutral situation. But how much choice do we have to pick that decision?
He has expressed the question better.
Same question in a different words. See, what happens is, at the time of our birth, everything that we come into this world is based upon the predetermined karmas. No doubt about that. Nobody is disputing it. The body that we get, the kind of samskaras we come into this world, everything is dependent upon predetermined karma. That is the starting point. Now you have to progress in this life. You have choices. What is the choice? Let us say the karma provides you with two choices of either pravritti marga or nivritti marga. Okay, it is giving you a choice. Either you can go through this brahmacharya, grihastha ashrama, and brahmacharya is common for everybody, grihastha ashrama, or you go sannyasa way. Like we have seen so many Mahatmas, in our own life rather, right from brahmacharya, they have straight away gone to sannyasa. Now these two choices are presented. How do you know what is your choice?
Don't know.
You don't know what is your choice. Well, law of karma, for whatever it is the total blanket for us. We don't even know what karmas, what samskaras we are born with. Rather. We have seen people who have actually been, Valmiki is a very classic case in point, who has been a criminal rather, doing all sorts of things. But then he, at some stage, on an advice by Narada, he becomes a Mahatma rather. Why? Was that predetermined? If it was predetermined, there was no need for Narada to advise Valmiki. So therefore, what we have to understand is that if we actually do not accept, we totally go by the law of karma, that everything is predetermined in this world, mankind will never make any progress. Because your karmas which you have earned in the previous life have only a certain determining capability so far as your current life is concerned. You have a free will to reshape your current life the way you want to do it in this life. If that is the case, then as I said, there is no difference between man and human. Animals cannot reshape their life. Animals, as they are born as an animal, or a tree for that matter, they are born. This janma of theirs, till they lose their physical body, they will have to live that life as predetermined. They cannot do anything to change their life. Right? Whereas it's only human being, whatever be his circumstances, he can change this life. Therefore, free will, acceptance of free will becomes the greatest motivating factor for human progress. If everything is as per what past is, there won't be any human progress. Everybody will be, just doing whatever or not doing anything. Everything is determined. Why should I do anything about it? I know I can't change anything. This is a fatal.
So for a person who has not been brought up in this culture and who is not aware of reincarnation or karma or the effect of our actions, so the process is slower for them than for a person who comes into this knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita?
Yes, certainly. That is with your free will, you have come to knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. See, it is just like there are two students who are appearing in an examination, very important examination. One student makes the preparation on himself. He doesn't know, he's just looking at some past question papers and all that, and he prepares. Another student chooses to go to a coach. And that coach focuses his attention on what is important to get good marks in this examination, and does not take him through all sorts of things. You have to read this also, read this also. The coach knows exactly where the student should focus. Which student will get better marks? Obviously, the one
that will be a determination of the good karma somewhere.
No,
without understanding or with understanding.
Correct.
Knowing karma or not knowing.
No, I didn't
That
get it.
person doesn't know.
No,
that it's karma.
That person knows that so far as the karma is concerned, both are the same. Both of us are going to take the same examination.
Two options.
Two options, right? Either you go to a coach or you don't go to a coach. So the other person who doesn't go to a coach, he will be going around making preparation to the best of his ability, thinking that
the other one is guided.
Whereas the other person has got guidance. So who has got a better chance? The person who has got guidance has got a better chance. Correct. Similarly, people who come here without any knowledge of this, past karmas and things like that and all, one more life they will just spend like this, doing right and wrong thing, because they can't even accept punya papa. They don't know why. So suppose a person is born with certain, let's say, congenital issues, say born blind or something like that, right? Mentally, or even, physically challenged, legs are not there. They won't know why it is happening. You ask them why it is happening, they don't know. Oh, it is like that. That's all. Where they don't believe in karma, they can't believe in fate also. They can't believe in past karmas and I have a past birth and all that. So they don't even know the answer why it is happening. In fact, we know the answer why it is happening. So this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita makes you a mature person in terms of addressing your life, addressing the problems that you are going to face in your life, and then responding to it in a very pragmatic, mature, and I would say objective manner, which will ensure that you are happy, because that is the goal of everybody.
Yeah, equanimity comes.
Equanimity is the prerequisite for your happiness. Whether you win, you lose, you gain, or there is a loss. If there is equanimity, you are taking that everything as Ishvara Prasada, then you will never have any failure at all. Whatever you gain is actually a success for you. You will not equate the amount of your contribution in terms of action and the result you get. You will not say, okay, I did so much, I take 10 units of action, I get only 1 unit of result. This kind of comparisons will not happen at all. Isn't it? In fact, we have that culture because, like, for example, yesterday or a couple of days ago, my wife, she went to Amritsar Golden Temple. She went there and she found that there was a huge queue, and it was almost some 3-4 hours waiting. She has to wait in order to go into the Sanctum Sanctorum, which is where the Granth Sahib is kept, or for that matter, go for langar also. A huge queue for langar, the free meals they give. Now, what is her? What could be her reaction? Oh my God! I came all the way from Bombay to Golden Temple and to go and pray before this. But see, I can't stand for 4 hours because my return flight is there in the evening. I have to go back. So she can become frustrated. She can become totally desperate. Curse Bhagavan. Oh, why did you do this to me? And all that. But you know what her attitude was? When I spoke to her, she said that I was very happy that I could go to the Golden Temple because I consider the whole place to be divine, not just that Sanctum Sanctorum. I could go there and I could get the prasada from their tirtham or whatever they gave. And that was enough. I mean, I was quite satisfied with my trip to the Golden Temple. So, your action she did, one attitude could have given her a lot of unhappiness and frustration. Another attitude gives her a lot of happiness and lot of satisfaction that I have come here, I have done what I wanted to do. That's enough. That is where, the difference comes, rather. And that is exactly what, it was not in her hands that when she goes, that there won't be any queue, that she will be taken inside as a VIP and made, like Modi goes, he will be taken as a VIP. My wife cannot be expected to be a Modi, given the Modi VIP treatment, isn't it? So that is the Karma Yoga attitude with which if we live our life will be very, I would probably go to the extent of claiming that it will be always happy. That is how we have to approach or address everything in our life. Yeah?
Yes. Thank you, Guruji.
Okay. Hari Om. So next, okay, I will set a note because most of people have left. Next week, we will not have this class. But evening will be there. But many of you who are in India will not be able to attend. And those of you, of course, who are for whom time is suitable, can attend. I will try my best with Sulekaji's help to get, that is, do the Zoom call. But if that doesn't happen...
Yeah, Steve is good. Steve is very good with the computers, etc.
Yeah. So, no, that's okay. I mean, it's only a question of availability of, how I'm going to teach at the same time record. Because if I do it, like this in front, then I may not be able to see the students, rather, right?
Yeah.
So, because this will block my view. At the same time, if I put the laptop on the side to record it, then whether it is properly recording or not, in terms of this thing. So those are some minimal, small points I will need to work out. But I'm sure that will be possible. And we can...
If Lucas is there, I don't know if he comes from his school. If Lucas is there, he can monitor it while you address your audience.
That's also possible. We will see how that is to be worked out. Okay.
It will be perfect, Guruji.
Okay.
You have God's grace and the Guru.
Whatever happens, I will accept it with happiness.
Yeah.
No problem.
And what time did you say?
Sorry?
What time did you say you're going to speak?
6 o'clock Eastern
6
time.
o'clock.
6 o'clock.
Eastern
For you also 6 o'clock only, Boston.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
In India, it will be 3:30 in the morning, which is a very unearthly hours, rather. Unless somebody is used to getting up at 3. Today, Hariji is not there. So he's at his request that I agreed to do the Zoom cast.
Yes. He's very happy.
Yeah, that's what I said in the beginning. Once in a while, you can get up at 3:30 and listen to a talk. There's nothing wrong.
Right.
Listen to that. But it doesn't matter because what I'm going to do there is, as I said, only a glimpse. I'm going to cover all of that in much more detail in these classes, rather. So there you will not miss. Probably you may get to know something little in advance. That's all. So that is what is. But today I only talked about samatvam, right? Then the next sloka he talks about kaushalam. So what is kaushalam and how this samatvam, kaushalam are the two definitions Krishna gives for karma yoga. All that I will explain in that because that's a 1 hour session where I have to cover as much as possible of karma yoga. Whereas for you, I will go much in detail about all these aspects. So you won't miss anything if you don't attend that satsang. Okay.
The more, the better.
More the better, yes, certainly, no doubt about it. So that's it. Okay. So I'll
Okay.
Yes.
thank you very
Thank you.
much. Thank you.
Okay.